Okay, let me share with you a story of how, when I was just 19, I collapsed timelines and I aligned with my ideal reality. So it was the time of the life when you're supposed to, I was finishing high school and I was supposed to apply for universities. But just before that, I visited London a few times and I set up my mind to go and study there. Okay, I wanted to move there, I wanted to live there, I wanted to go there simply, right? I set my mind on the goal. However, at that time, reality hit me. And when I shared it with my parents, they said simply, we cannot afford to pay for this cost, for your accommodation, nor for your living expenses, plus the expenses of the university itself, because it was not for free, right? And that pretty much collapsed my whole reality, because I felt like, okay, I might as well just not go to university in my home country, because I was really certain on not going to any of those, right? Nothing felt excited to me, nothing felt right to me. And I said to myself, well, I might as well just not go, because I don't want to do that, right? I was very stubborn at that point. I got those papers, I didn't fill them up, I threw them to the bin. I didn't fill out one application for those universities in my home country, okay? And this is really important because I set my mind on what I'm not available for. I was simply not available for this reality at that time. However, I said to myself, okay, if I cannot go to study to London, I'm gonna move there and I'm gonna start doing some random jobs. I don't care, just something to get away with and get along with my life and my expenses. I just really, truly wanted to experience living abroad, okay? That was my goal. That was my dream. That was my desire. It was not even so much about going and study specifically on some uni in London. It was more about living abroad. And then I decided, okay, then I'm just not gonna go to any university in Slovakia. I'm not gonna go to any university at all. I'm just gonna start working right away after high school. I let go completely. While my classmates and everyone was applying, talking, discussing, analyzing which uni to apply for, where they're gonna go, how are their chances, what are the options, I simply detached myself completely from reality and I let it go, right? I let it go. I kind of made peace with, okay, I cannot go study in London. It's not possible. I might as well just not overthink about it, not bother about it. There was something for me that I just knew was for me, and I was better than this reality. And why is it important? Because after I detached myself from this, I was just browsing on the internet, and somehow, I swear to God, I was not looking for this, okay? Somehow the advertisement jumped out to me out of nowhere about studying in a university in Denmark, which is free, right? So you don't have to actually pay for the uni there. Obviously, you have to pay for expenses and anything like that, and it's really expensive than in the Scandinavia, as I figured out later, but that was not the point. I saw the opportunity of studying abroad for free for the university, and I took it. I immediately started looking into it. I sent my applications. I went forward with the process because I felt this nudge, like this is something to explore. It came to me, right? I was not looking for that. It came to me one day. And fast forward, I got accepted. I went to Denmark. I moved there. I did my uni, my first year at least, and the rest is history. But I fulfilled my wish of not staying in Slovakia, of not studying in Slovakia, of not living in Slovakia. And instead, I did what I wanted to do, which was moving abroad. Okay? And this is why it's important when I'm talking about collapsing timelines, and when I'm talking about what is important is what I did back then, I had no clue, okay? At this time, I was 19 years old. I had no idea about manifestation. I had no idea about any of this spirituality. It was way before I even got into such things. But I completely made myself unavailable for the reality, for the timeline that I didn't want to be in, right? How I did that? I didn't even fill out the application for the schools in my country. That's how I was signaling to the universe, I'm simply not available for this. It was no option because I completely erased it, right? So why am I bringing this up? It's so important that if you want to collapse timelines, if we are talking about this, you have to make yourself unavailable for any other possibility, okay? And wait a second, because this is another important thing. However, I wanted to go originally to London, right? I was focused on that. That didn't work out, but I was open for the possibility of it being something better, as long as it was something that would fulfill my wish of being abroad, being away from home, being in a different country. So you have to make yourself unavailable for the old timeline. For me, the old timeline was studying in my home country. I made myself unavailable. However, I was open to other possibilities as long as it was abroad. So you have to be kind of flexible with what comes can be better than what you focus on, as I was focusing on London, and what came was better for my current situation to go to Denmark. So you have to make this space, right? You make yourself unavailable for what you completely and absolutely will not accept. And you open yourself, you detach yourself from the outcome, but you know what your requirements are still, okay? And you don't let go of them. So I was still following the desire of studying abroad while I was not available for staying in my current timeline. That's how I collapsed the timeline. That's how it came to me. And I answered the nudge. I answered the nudge when it came to me, and I made research and I made applications and I went with it, and everything felt completely aligned. The story continues how I had troubles and issues and all of that there, but that's for another video, which is not important right now, because I did collapse the timeline by getting into the reality which I wanted and becoming unavailable for what I didn't want. So if you are currently in a situation that you are wishing for a different reality, you have to make yourself unavailable for any situation that you don't want to entertain anymore in your life, okay? So whether that is you want to move, whether that is you want to change jobs, whether that is you want to end the relationship, enter another one, I don't know what it is, but you have to completely say no to everything that doesn't resonate with your new timeline while you open yourself up for it to come to you in maybe slightly different way, as long as it has the essence of what you are calling in, right? Because sometimes, like this was my example, the things come to us, they are not exactly what we want, but they might be much better for us. So you have to be open in this way. But at the same time, you close the door, okay? I closed the door completely. I was not available for that anymore. That reality for me was over. But I opened the door and I opened the possibilities for all these other ones. While this was closed, I could walk. If you keep the door open, things are gonna be going up and down, back and forth. You need to close the door on the reality you don't want anymore. It's simple. It's simple. That's how the universe will align you with your most abundant timeline as soon as possible. But you have to close the door. There is no way around that, okay? So if you take anything from this video today, it's about being completely clear about what you don't entertain anymore. But you cannot keep your feet there and see, okay, maybe if this doesn't work out, I still have this. If this doesn't work out, I still have this. No. No, baby, that's not how it's gonna work. That's not how we're gonna align with that, right? You cannot move if you are stretching yourself in a split situation, right? You're splitting yourself. Like, are you going or are you staying, right? And if this is better than that, what are you waiting for? You have to make yourself unavailable while being open to it being even better than what you imagine, right? My desire was London. I got Denmark, Copenhagen. It was an amazing experience which forwarded me in, completely changed the trajectory of my life, everything since. So you have to be open for it to be better. You have to be open for the universe to provide for you and to give you even better than what you can dream of. That's how you collapse timeline. And close the door. Don't keep them open. Don't keep the option B, plan C, plan D. No, there is no such thing. You have your eyes on the price, but it's not gonna be there, okay? It can be better, but it will be there. So focus on that. You're gonna get that. And it could be even better than what you imagined. Trust me.